What's up, everyone? Welcome to Player One versus World's new show. It doesn't actually have a name yet. We're working on that. But I am one of your hosts, Adnan, and my co-host, none other than Abby Nissenbaum. Abby, who was on here previously, did an interview with me, but we decided to start up a show. Once a month, I will drag Abby out of the corporate world and her music world, and we come on to here to talk about stuff. It could be anything. It can be about Life is Strange. It can be about Lost Records. It's not scripted. It's just basically something you can put in the background whilst you watch it on YouTube. It's just going to be YouTube only for the time being because we have a very 1 month schedule thing where it's like one episode a month. So we're going to keep it that way. But yeah, it's going to be this. I currently said to Abby that we're going to call it Fireside with A&A. But
so cute. Love it.
See, there we go. There's the endorsement. But yeah, this is the show that's going to start. We're going to do it for once a month, as I said. It'll be about anything. It can be any kind of topic relevance, and it's just something you can stick on in the background or watch and entertain yourself. We'll also be using our screen recording features as well, so you can kind of like engage with certain things that we'll see. But before that, as always, if you are new here to the YouTube channel, please do drop a subscribe, turn on notifications, like the video, share with your friends. Destroys me every time I say that, but you do really help support this channel. It's a very small channel. And also as well, check out all other content as well. It's worth watching. There's a lot of Life is Strange content, a lot of Lost Records content, a lot of Don't Nod, Deck 9 stuff. Abby, hello.
Hello. I love starting a podcast with no name and no clear theming as to what we'll be talking about. So I think this is, coming off to a great start.
Exactly, it's a great start. If anything, the intro and outro music has been done by the lovely Adam Evolt, who hosts our other podcast with me, and I'm very appreciative of him doing that. And you even said to me before, you're like, why didn't you ask me to do it? And I was like, nah. It's like going to another barber and like betraying that trust. It's like the man's soul would be destroyed, and it's like I can't be doing that. So it's like you would have been number 2 in my eyes, but at this point it had to be him that did this. But yeah, we're here. Where do you want to start?
Oh my gosh. On the spot, huh? Well, if anyone had to create the intro music, I will say I'm glad it's Adam. He's very talented. I listened to some of his stuff. Maybe we could start off with like a little Life is Strange news recap, because I was saying that I hadn't watched the most recent gameplay content.
Ooh,
shame on me.
Actually, yeah, let's do it. Should we go straight to the reaction then of this Gamescom footage then that we've seen?
I think that's what the people would want.
That is what the people want. So bear with us, guys. We're going to go straight to our screen recording. So we're going to show Abby for the first time the Life is Strange content that was shown at Gamescom. It was a trailer / footage appearance at the Xbox Games Showcase. So sit back and you can watch it with us whilst we put it on full music as well.
Are we reacting in real time or should I shut up?
Well, it's up to you. If you want to like stop at certain points and react, that's fine. If you want to talk about it afterwards, that's fine as well. As I said, this is starting off.
Crazy reactions like violence and mild blood, suggestive themes.
There we go. Perfect. I'm going to put it in the thumbnail as well. Okay, right. If you want to stop at any point, just tell me and we can talk about it, but I'll leave you to it.
Cool.
Max Caulfield, the girl who could rewind time, is back.
Let's thrash, Chakra Bra.
But when one of her new friends, Safi Llewellyn Fayyad, is murdered in the grounds of Caledon University, Max finds that her chaotic power has changed. Now, Max must shift back and forth to reveal the truth of her friend's murder, in an attempt to save Safi before it's too late. Once Max's new power manifests, she can send a pulse out from her fingertips at any time. While Pulse is active, she can peer through to the other world, seeing the differences between the timelines clearly. People and objects in the other timeline appear as dimensional echoes, allowing Max to avoid watchful eyes when shifting.
Good thing I can keep an eye on Alderman from here. Wouldn't want to show up right in front of him.
What the hell?
While Pulse shimmers around her, she can also see places where the veil between the two timelines is at its thinnest. These shift points are where she can push through to the opposite timeline to help her investigation in a multitude of ways.
Oh. You need me to hold something, or...?
Actually, yeah. I need an Allen wrench.
Got one around here?
No, I borrowed one from Carla, but I think she took it back. If you can go grab that from her, I'll owe you.
This could be to solve a puzzle, convince a character to reveal a secret, or retrieve an object lost in one timeline by borrowing it from another.
Better give this wrench to Moses.
Shift points work in both directions, so you can shift back and forth from the same spot,
So I found this guy named Alan, but he didn't know anything about a wrench.
No, Max, not literally Alan. It's... Oh. You are a lifesaver, Max. Dad joke aside.
I'll never apologize for my dad jokes.
If you're worried about losing track of which timeline you're in, well, Max herself may get confused too.
Have you talked to Reggie since yesterday? Reggie? Crap! Wrong Loretta, Max.
In the options, you can toggle a UI indicator every time you shift, confirming the reality you've just arrived in, as well as there being visual cues such as cheery Christmas decor in the timeline where Safi is alive. Most importantly to Max's investigation, everyone you meet has an increasingly divergent duplicate in the other timeline. Depending on which timeline you're in, they'll react to Max and her probing questions very differently. A grief-sodden conversation in one timeline may unlock an unexpected heart-to-heart in the other.
Grief is hard. The trick is not to let it change your character.
Everyone at Caledon is hiding something, and Max is the only one with a viewpoint unique enough to unravel those secrets, and the determination to reach the truth at all costs.
Everybody's talking about her like she had a heart attack or a car accident. But she was murdered. Someone murdered her. I don't know how we're expected to just be okay with that.
Max has never been so powerful or in so much danger. The fates of her friends and of two timelines are at Max's fingertips.
Boom.
There we are.
So that was...
It's funny because...
Go on.
No, go ahead.
No, go.
Well, Safi is also the name of one of my cats. So...
Important input. Yeah, so that was revealed at Gamescom. We've obviously got like interviews and other things that are happening. I mean, I believe people have gone hands-on. There's been a bit of other gameplay footage, but yeah, that was the trailer. It was like a big focus on the powers. And obviously, I think at the end of that trailer as well, you had Max kind of tapping into her new powers because obviously she tries to rewind, doesn't work, and then it's split time. But yeah, that was the trailer, so it was very interesting to watch. I don't know how you felt about that.
It leaves me with more questions about the mechanics. So if you can transmit objects through time, what's to say you can't transmit people? So I feel like those questions, like if I can poke a hole in the narrative or in the mechanic rather, just from that trailer, I would hope that it's explained in the game. But I know in the original game, like, some things were never explained. Like, in the very first scene, why does Max end up back in the classroom when she rewinds time as opposed to where she was?
Yeah, I think, yeah, they got a lot to explain to this because obviously, again, like, yeah, it is right because, like, essentially, so the idea is like she senses pulse points in the universe, and then from there she can split it. So she splits into the alternative timeline, as they explain. So when you go into the alternative timeline, you can grab objects and then come back in it. I think what I can early tell probably that early rationale will be the fact that she's using her two hands to split the timeline. So she probably can't grab onto someone. She can put something on her. So obviously the Allen key goes into her pocket, and then she splits the universe and then goes back into the other timeline. So I think that's going to be their justification, being like she can't just grab someone and then like go through to the other timeline. But obviously I kind of have the idea of like what's going to happen to the repercussion of like going through said timeline with that item and then leaving the other timeline without the item. If I was Moses in the other timeline and she's taking my Allen key, I'm going to be pissed. I'll be like, where's my Allen key? It's like this other Moses is being screwed over by that. Yeah.
Well,
so
and like, do the objects remain the same? Do they remain as they were in that timeline? Because can you bring back like a note or a cell phone, or pictures or things like that?
That's the idea, apparently. I think it's like they kind of like referred mainly to objects, if anything, but you can essentially bring things through. But this is also, let me just give you this as well, because I'll share this as well for you, just so you can see a bit more context, actually. We are on social media, guys, by the way, as well. You should follow us because we cover a lot of stuff and post things. So this was an interview with Jonathan Stauder, who's the game director on Double Exposure. So basically, in the actual conversation, he's kind of teased a what could have been timeline. So he said in this interview, most of the choices are character-based, and they'll determine how your relationship with each character moves forward. You can then go to the other timeline and usually get a window into either the road not taken or how things are playing out differently there. So you have more. So you have a more immediate. So you have more immediate like examination of those effects because they are very much right in front of your face. So that was what he said in this interview. So basically, what he's saying is that when you've done something and you go back into the timeline, so it's like a major choice, you can kind of peer into the other timeline and see what's happened if you want, and it kind of shows you a what if scenario. So fitting because the original Life is Strange game was called What If, but like they're kind of like doing this what if thing. So it's like because Max can't rewind time and they're taking that power away from you, they're giving it agency in terms of looking at the potential consequences. Like people are being a bit torn because some people are being like, well, why would I care what's happened there? But I think the kind of idea is that they're doing it to create anxiety, to create a bit more kind of like, oh, I actually missed that, and maybe it's a hidden detail that I should really have picked up on, and they kind of keep you on your tippy toes, if anything. But it seems to be like a different experimental idea, if anything, for the time being. But yeah, that's what I've taken away from the trailer so far. It's quite an interesting trailer so far, and marketing and where the story's going as well. I do wonder, like, I do have a feeling where I know the story's going, but you kind of have to like read the comics for me, if anything. The comics are very much like, I've set this up, it's foreshadowed like the Life is Strange series going forward for me, if anything.
Yeah, it'll be interesting for me to go in having not read the comics because I'm basically viewing this as a standalone game. Well, not a standalone game, but following only the video games. And even I don't think you have to have played the games in order to play this one.
No, in my eyes, it's a soft reboot. I keep saying this, people who don't seem to agree with me. It's almost like a soft reboot. So they've intentionally done it where it's like Max is the main character from the past, is a character that people have had resonance with and like some fan service with, if anything. But they're going to appease fan service with scenes and little incremental bits. But it's essentially targeted to a new audience where it's like actually anyone who's not played the Life is Strange game from the original can play it. So it's almost like a standalone sequel, if anything. A standalone sequel with like almost like a soft reboot vision in mind. That's how I've kind of seen it, if anything. So it seems like that's what is going to be your experience. And obviously, some people are still peeved for different reasons. Obviously, like I can tell why people are so peeved, but this is the problem when you basically go with a game which has a very closed ending, the way it ends, because like the end of that trailer, for example, she starts using her powers, and it's like really? It's like, really?
Yeah.
Because your character doesn't have like for me it's like when you create characters in storytelling, and I'm no narrative designer or writer or anything, when you create purpose in your character, they can't basically walk back on that decision within like 5-10 minutes. It doesn't make sense to the story. I think this is why people had issues with like The Last Jedi, with like Luke Skywalker. People had issues with like, anything you watch in a medium, you watch your character, you hook up to them a couple of years later, if it's a sequel or trilogy, they have reason for what they're doing. The behavior is kind of told. But when Max does something like this, which is really left field, it's like, hang on a minute, it makes no sense. And the justification would have to be something ridiculous to kind of do that. Like, as I said to you, I think off podcast when we talked before, off conversation, I said like they could have easily have gotten away with basically rehashing the beginning of the first game, but Chloe is definitively shot in this game so far. Mm-hmm. And then because of that, she has this kind of like freak out moment and her powers go, explode in some kind of way, shape or form. And then it evolves in something else. Bad fanfic writing for me there, but it's kind of like, you have to give a reason for it, because like the idea is like, for example, if you do 10 years later, yeah, you could argue, for example, like she's rewound time because like it happened to Chloe, or it's like, it's trauma, or it's some kind of like reason for that. But then you'd still go back to the question of why wouldn't you just rewind time and create this perpetual cycle that you see in the first game, where it's like, if she's that important, you just basically keep her alive, which is what the comics do essentially. It follows both endings. It's not considered canon in the Life is Strange series, but it follows both endings. It respects both endings in that sense. It's like, we're going to follow one timeline, and then in the like later in the story, it starts mashing the timelines in a metaverse style. So it's like, actually, you can kind of get away with what's happening here. So I'm very intrigued by it myself, if anything. There's still a lot of mysteries with this.
Yeah. Well, to me also, Arcadia Bay was so important to the story that it was almost like a character in itself. So at the end of Life is Strange 1, you had to decide which character you were going to kill off, Chloe or the Bay. And now with Max's kind of whole way of being and personality changing so much, and motives almost changing so much, it almost feels like we don't have any original characters left, but I know that that's not the case, and I'm hoping that it'll still stoke the nostalgia for the game.
You'd hope so. I think they'll probably have incremental references, like text messages and like dream sequences or something that will refer to other characters.
The text messages. I want the actual character back.
You might see some. I think I could see like some cameos appearing quite easily in this, because where they're setting the game in, like in terms of just like messing around with the universe of like characters, you can kind of bring it back and forth. But I do, it's hard because like even itself as well, when you said that like Blackwell's like a kind of character, Blackwell Academy is a character because that's like Don't Nod's storytelling. Like they've been very good with like making sure that their universes are like characters essentially, which has always been like a big kind of like poignant point. It's the same with like Lost Records. We'll talk about Lost Records in a bit, but it's like Velvet Cove is almost like a character already. It's like a setting. It's more than that. The location is. I feel like when you play these games, especially with Life is Strange, and you start the game and Max walks out of the classroom and she puts her headphones in, I feel like you've stepped into her shoes. So you're living, breathing Blackwell Academy. You know what that's like. You know it's almost like you having like deja vu to an experience you never had before. So I think I agree with you in that, in sense of like, that's the expectation with Caledon University. I'm like, can it be like that? It's already copying a lot of shades of like Blackwell, but can it really do the same thing that Don't Nod does? And that's like a really big question about Deck 9 in terms of like, they have a different way of storytelling, and so does Don't Nod, which is good because they are different for that. But it's like, you can't be too much of a pale imitation of what's happening before. That's a worry for me with Don't Nod, with these Life is Strange games. They did it with True Colors. Like I foreshadowed that death of Jeff, the shooting of Alex Chen quite early, because I was like, when Jed turns up, it's like, is that Jefferson here? It's like he just turned up. He's like he's just, when someone screams hella sus, I'm like, yeah, I can see where this game's going, and it's just like, it almost, I always say it screams like a Force Awakens moment. J.J. Abrams reboots Star Wars and he just basically does the fourth film, but in a different kind of like skin. People are like, actually, I'm happy with this. And it's like, that's not good, because basically people are content with seeing a rehashing of something and it wasn't actually as good. They're basically starting to see nostalgia, which nostalgia, I would argue, is not the same anymore. I don't think nostalgia is what we used to experience. It's like when you see something, it's just not the same. Yeah.
Well, one thing I've learned is that you can trust no man in the Life is Strange universe, because I didn't catch Mr. Jefferson. I didn't catch Jed. So I'm going into this trusting no man.
And that's when they're going to catch you with left field, because Adam currently thinks that the killer is the president.
I do too.
You think?
Oh, Preston?
No, the president. So it's Safi's
her
mom.
That's who
Yasmin.
I think.
Yeah. Which I kind of agree with, but then also I don't as well, because apparently they keep saying the characters like supernatural and they got their own. They got other characters have got powers, and like they're being kind of like hella sus with it. I think they might throw people left field there, if anything. I kind of hope it is a bit of a woman, if anything, to kind of change things up and change the dynamic. I don't think it's Chloe Price. I don't think it's Alt Max either. My theories have changed in that position. It's too hard to write those stories and for them to make sense as well. It could be Max potentially causing an infinite time loop where she's caused an accident that has like ripped open a tear and a bullet has flown through and hit Safi. God only knows. Like, there's all kinds of explanations. But yeah, I'm intrigued. This is one thing that I'm really happy with, at least being a guy who just talks on the internet, which is that basically I don't have to write this stuff, because it's like, to write these kind of storylines and plot points, I just like, bizarre, if anything. They're just so hard to write, like a metaverse style story. So yeah, that's that. Yeah, it was an interesting trailer though. I don't know if I was expecting more or anything. I was kind of content with what I watched from that. Hannah Tellers seems obviously very good. She's always on good form, if anything, and I'm very happy with that. That's like my driven motivation in life, is just to see this game for like Hannah Tell being in the performance. I think she's just going to be great anyway. But yeah, I think if anything, and I've kind of spoke to people about it before, because people are like, oh, you're like really more excited for Lost Records and Life is Strange and stuff. It's like, no, it's like my expectations are tempered, if anything, because I'm not seeing it in the sense of, I think even you said it to me before, you're like, Chloe has to be in this game. I'm like, I think she's in the game, but I think she's in the game, but I don't think it's in the way that people want her to be in the game. And I'm like, that's the expectation I have at the minute. Obviously, if I'm proven wrong, great. I've been proven wrong, but I think that her role is going to be significantly different in this game.
She's just going to walk by in a pair of Doc Martens for the extra advertising moment.
Oh God, yeah. The Doc Martens is something else. Yeah, we were talking about this because you did a video on TikTok, which I appreciate. But I was like, Abby, they're stitching you up. It's like they've got you hooked because you've got like a massive sapphic LGBT plus audience, and like you gobbled it up, and I was like Abby, like they've lost the meaning behind it, because it's like you're giving better explanation than what they've done for this product placement, which is what me and Adam have talked about, because we had a lovely comment from a person called Emma on like one of our videos, and it was like a really great context in terms of like Doc Martens history, went all the way back to the 60s. I was like really interested because I've never actually even heard this. I thought it was like a cultural trend, recent cultural trend, where people like wore Doc Martens, but great explanation. And I was like, I agree with everything you're saying, and it's really interesting this, but the problem is unfortunately your message is not attached to the top of the press release, and then bottom of it is like, we've announced the partnership with Doc Martens, because like it feels like a product placement without any acknowledgement for what the actual purpose is, and that's just not, it's just, I find it weird.
It's an underhanded product placement. Maybe we should explain a little for the people who hadn't seen TikTok. So Life is Strange is doing a collaboration with Doc Martens. And docs are known kind of as a queer resistance symbol, boots on the ground, LGBTQ activism, and they've become kind of a symbol of queer people, specifically lesbians. And, you'd be hard pressed to find a lesbian who does not own a pair of docs, I would say. But but it's kind of, like I just said, underhanded advertising, where it's a symbol to those who are in the know, queer people who are fans of Life is Strange. However, it's not coming out explicitly and saying, hey gays, this is for you. This is a symbol for you.
But that's like the problem that I have with it, because it's like I said this in the other podcast where I was talking about. I was like, there's a game called This Bed We Made, which is like an indie game that came from Canada. It's made by a studio called Low Birth Games, and they had like big Life is Strange inspiration. Like Life is Strange is one of the games that inspired that game. Luke Bagados, who's like the executive producer on Life is Strange 1 and 2, worked on, like, was a consultant on that game. He was like a big mentor for them. But basically, like, when I spoke to their creative director, Olivia, he basically tells you about the history of like Canada's LGBT culture. Like, this game is set in the 60s. And when you pick up things, it's like authentic. It comes across as like representation. But on the bottom of it, obviously, it doesn't say like, sponsored by like, X card maker or something. Like, like a serious like pamphlet that's about LGBT, like, like protests or something, like, it's like an anti-gay note or like an anti-gay advertisement or something. It's like none of it's got like advertisement lists on it, so it feels authentic. But it's like with the Doc Martens, for example, it's like, it's a nod, as you said, but it's such a frustrating nod. It's like, we all know what you're saying, but no one in the room is ready to say it. And like, that's the frustrating part. Because it's like when you came on, you were like, oh yeah, and you're bigging up on TikTok. I'm like, why don't they just get her to do this? Like, why don't they just get her to like advertise on the Life is Strange TikTok page? Because it's like, she's basically doing their job for them, but it's like no one at like Square Enix is ready to say, actually, this is why we're including, because Max can be considered as an LGBT character to some people, or people who like, have some kind of like preference towards that. But it's like, yeah, it's an interesting one, like the Doc Martens placement. It's like, it's not, because obviously like people like Life is Strange is a very indie style game. It was never indie, it was AA, but it's like everyone's like, it's like in a very indie style game. Yeah, it's just like, it's
not just double, it was AAA.
Yeah, it's yeah. Well, let's do triple. It was. I kind of like see it more.
Is it triple? It's AAA games, right?
Yeah. So it's
I don't know. I worked in an indie studio.
so triple A is like developer publisher relationships. It's like your big games, your Call of Duties. It's like a high end budget with a game. There's also double A, which is like almost like which is why I consider Life is Strange, which is again publisher developer, but not necessarily like big budget per se. It's like kind of like a bit more of a kind of concentrate, because like, if anyone said to me like Life is Strange triple A, I'm like, it's like it's a bit of a push that it's got a publisher. It's not indie, but the way it came across, it was double A, but it came across as an indie game. It came across as like a.
Well, I thought that Don't Nod published the first one on their own.
No, they didn't. No. Square. Yeah.
Okay.
So basically, they tried to pitch that first game to everyone. They pitched it to like loads of people. Like, there were people like studios who publishers who were like, we don't want the game because it's got 2 female protagonists. Can you change one, etc.? All these other variations. It was only that Square Enix rolled the dice with it that they took it. Hence why they've kept the IP. Hence why they've kept making Life is Strange games. Hence why they keep capitalizing on things. Because I think if anything, actually, it's funny enough as well. The CEO of Don't Nod, Oscar Gilbert, I was looking at an interview as well. I believe like the pre-production value of this game, if anything, like the budget for this game was about 4 million euros. 4 million, I'd say about 4 million, 6 million if you're going to count everything. And I don't know if he's referring to everything being that 4 million euros, but it was a smaller range. It was less than 10 million euros. Let's just say that to make a game of Life is Strange. And like the first Life is Strange sold well over 1 million copies, for example. So it's like the returns are like there. It's like they're massively there. So it's like the budget, even still for those kind of games, isn't that big, if anything. It's like minuscule compared to other stuff I've seen Square Enix do. I think Square Enix did Forspoken, if you've seen that game. Me and Adam like take
that. What was the budget on that? Like it was 100 million.
100 million. Apparently, it was reportedly 100 million. I was like, that's bonkers.
Yeah, after we talked about that, because we had just like seen something and talked about it, I actually looked at a gameplay video of it, and it does not look like $100 million game.
No, it doesn't. That's the kind of game that needs like a $10 million budget, and it's like then it obviously if it has success, flies off great. We got the return from it, but for $100 million. No, not a chance. I'm not having that. It's like it's just not going to work. It's almost like trying to say the first Life is Strange was $100 million game, but like get out of it. It's like who's bankrolled this for $100 million? It's like make it for like 10 million and get the returns back. You need to, as Adam says, like you buy low, sell high. You don't buy high and sell low. It's just not going to be. It's not really profitable for you. But yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of still sitting here waiting for October, like slowly ticking towards October. So I'm like getting towards like Life is Strange, where it's like, oh, actually, we get to play it and we will see what happens. And I'm like. I'm like, oh, like let's see how things go from there.
Yeah, I am genuinely so excited though, because Before the Storm was actually my favorite iteration of Life is Strange. So I really do love Deck 9 storytelling, and I'm very excited.
They are very good storytellers. As Adam has always said to me, it's like he would love to just see them make an IP, their own IP, without the realms of a publisher, because like that's the only problem with this game at the minute, Double Exposure. It's like everything from the marketing standpoint for me has been awful. From like a publisher standpoint, it's like they're still getting the message out there, still getting people to talk about it, etc. But like it's just been like the worst thing for Deck 9 just to probably see from as an outsider's perspective. It's like a $30 plus upgraded edition, Doc Martens with no representation behind them as a product placement, a Polaroid collaboration, this thing. It's like doing one thing after another. Oh, where's Chloe Price? It's like it's like just one thing after another, and I'm kind of just sat there like, oh, I'm like. I feel so bad for them because like I don't have any. I always correct people and like Deck 9 has done this, and you usually see me underneath a comment saying Square Enix, and I'm like, it's them that have done it. It's not Deck 9. They are fine with what they're doing. It's like within the realm of what you think is fine.
And what I don't get too from a marketing perspective is like Docs and Polaroid are by far the things with the bigger brand names, the entities that are bigger brands. Yeah. So why isn't there any Life is Strange specific branding on those items, like to kind of draw the people who are fans of those things into the video game?
You just hit my point like repeatedly to other people as well. I've said that point like God knows how many times. It's like you could easily have done like a Polaroid run where it's 100 cameras, Hannah Teller signed them, or you put butterflies on them, or you've done something. Even if you wanted, put
a fucking swirl on it.
Yeah, or if you wanted to like even if they did like a guitar collaboration, for example, and they had like Max's stickers or something on it, like some kind of like something to brand it. That's the problem. So it's even when you pick up the Doc Martens, if you look on the website, it's like a cherry something Doc Martens. It's just a Doc Martens. It's not like a branded one specifically where it's like got a butterfly on it or something, or like a something on there that is reference to Life is Strange. So it basically feels even more soulless. That's the even more of an issue I have with where it's like. It just feels like a collaboration, but it's like, oh, actually, the only one you could probably get away with, if anything, so far is like the Polaroid, because Max does use a Polaroid camera. But again, it's not branded. It's not got anything to give it like a bit of like, oh, it's a collector's item. I'm going to buy it because Life is Strange. I can put it on the shelf. Yeah,
and the cherry leather boots aren't a collector's item. Like they slay, but they're one of the normal colors that they offer.
Yeah.
And not only that, but Max is going to have the option to wear different colors. So it's like they're all just available colors of dogs.
That's why it's. I swear as well. It's like I remember a girl that I knew as well. She said like when she wears Doc Martens, you basically have to break them in as well, because it's like when you make them. Yeah, because like so you're breaking these shoes in as well whilst you scruff. It's like buying Converse, for example. You scruff them up to make them a little bit more dirty. It's like brand new Converse just look quite weird as it is. You have to like give it a bit more sheen. So it's like you're breaking in these Doc Martens, and it's like, and that as well. That's always baffled me as well. Why would you buy shoes that like inflict pain on you? It makes no sense. It's like
it's not going to be a true collaboration unless Max takes off her shoe and like all of the skin is just ripped off. That's why it's rare. mature. For Lord.
I'll officially come back on this channel and apologize when that's happened. I'm like, there's authentic representation. They've nailed that completely. It's like on brand, perfect.
That's the LGBTQ representation we're looking for.
Yeah, they'd appreciate that as well. They'd be like, actually, you guys have nailed that perfectly. Even if a nod would be nice to that as well, at least in the game, if they do that, something where she's like, I need to take these shoes off, they're killing me or something, it'd be like, at least that I can't fault, by the way. So at least if anything, I imagine that probably the Deck 9 developers fought for that, to have that in there. And they probably like, I know some of the developers who have like designed those shoes specifically. So it's like, I probably give them more kudos than Square Enix, because they probably championed that cause of getting them in there and kind of add some kind of representation, even though like the publisher is basically not giving the direct messaging behind it, explicit saying it to people otherwise. But yeah, that's so far. Life is Strange has taken a couple of interesting turns this week, left, right, and center. And I'm kind of just watching on as we do things. But yeah, it's an interesting one though for Double Exposure. I'm still like on the fence at the moment, just watching and waiting for something to happen.
Yeah, I'm not on the fence. I'm definitely excited. It's just like you said, the marketing has been very all over the place.
Yeah, I think that's what's done it for me. The marketing's just not been. I just don't see it like. It's just, in contrast to like Lost Records, it just doesn't scream like you should be excited for this game, or it's like you should like really be like intrigued by it. You kind of like disenfranchise people. It's like I just still don't know how this like to respect the two endings work, because I've never seen anyone in creative writing really perfect that, because it's like you're basically, unless you're doing metaverse style writing and you're clashing things, it can work, but you still peeve off a high percentage of people, because like in itself, which is really interesting, that ending in the first game, it's almost 50-50 split. It's almost like 50, even when you go to this main starter page, it's always like 50-50 split almost, of like who's choosing Arcady Bay, who's chosen Chloe Price. So it's like, it's an interesting one for that.
Yeah, well, we were talking earlier, like at a different time when we zoomed too, about how they were going to do the two endings without just having two completely different games. And I think that the what if timeline is actually a pretty elegant solution to that, because they could just develop them alongside each other and then have you peer into the other world.
Yeah, I think they tried to. Yeah, I think they because I don't know how much like replay value it really has. Like in terms of, obviously you'd going to go and do the other timeline, but I think intentionally letting you see what happens in the other one, just so it keeps you interested throughout the entire game, or tease other things. I'm not too sure, but yeah, essentially the game has to rely on splitting universes, continuously jumping back and forth. Like Square Enix games do this, if anything, where it's like, you are jumping back and forth in, like, I think Final Fantasy is one that I've talked about. I don't think you've played Final Fantasy 7 remake. Yeah, I keep saying to people, any person I mention it to, they're like, nah, I haven't played. I'm like, oh god, it's my go-to reference point. I'm like, this is the direction they're going with Life is Strange, in my personal opinion. It's like metaverse style writing, and you see OG Final Fantasy 7 fans like peeved off to hell, and I'm like, actually, I kind of understand why you feel the way that you do now. It makes a lot more sense, if anything. But yes, it's Square Enix things. Actually, funnily enough as well, how steeped are you in Square Enix history?
What's
like,
that?
How steeped are you in terms of your knowledge of Square Enix history? Because like even the Max stuff in this game, for example, isn't that left field from stuff they've done before. And I only recently remember it. So Final Fantasy 13, I'll take you back to this. It was a trilogy of games that they made. There was Final Fantasy 13, 13 Part 2, and Lightning Returns. Lightning is the main character, for FYI. She kind of looks a little bit... you know Lightning?
I know Lightning? No.
In terms of character?
I'm literally completely in the dark.
Right. I'm going to have to try
I did work in the gaming industry, though. So.
Yeah, there you go. Well... Let me explain. So let me try and break that down. So you got 3 games they made from this. So basically, Final Fantasy 13, you speak to anyone, it's a very divisive entry. It's like a really, really divided entry. Some people vibed with it, some people hated it. It's like such a big different directional change for Final Fantasy. But Square Enix were like, nah, we're gonna stick with Final Fantasy. Like they were committed to it. For whatever reason, they were like, nah. Even when 13 was very mixed reception, like, yeah, we're gonna do 13 Part 2. And actually, we're going to do Lightning Returns because we can finish the story off. They were really banking on Lightning to be this really big character, very much like Cloud Strife from Final Fantasy VII. She's very similar to him, just almost like a female counterpart in terms of style. But Lightning, the main character, who's pink haired, looks a little bit like yourself. I'm going to say just if anything, looks a little bit like yourself. In one of the Square Enix, a little bit. I'm just using it as a generic template here for that, if anything. But She got like pink hair, if anything. But Lightning, in one of the promotional materials from Square Enix, they basically did this thing which was like a Louis Vuitton collaboration. So it was like Lightning was dressed up in all these outfits that were like designer clothes as part of this marketing campaign, and it's the most bizarre thing you'll ever see. Let me actually, do you know what? We've got a screen for everything.
Yeah, I want to see this. That just doesn't feel on brand.
No, this is what I mean. Okay, let me show you because it's just so weird. Right, I'm pulling you back up here. What screenshot? Right, we're going to go to Google here first. I'm going to show you.
At least Max wearing Docs makes sense.
Max wearing Docs does make sense. This is Lightning in her Louis Vuitton outfits.
Also, isn't Final Fantasy not supposed to take place in modern time?
Depends on which Final Fantasy game you're playing. There are some that are set on Earth in a variation of like modern. But yeah, basically this is Lightning in her like Louis Vuitton outfits, and let me just show you what she looks like in general. So that's Lightning in the outfits, and this is what Lightning looks like. It's basically like obviously, as you said, it's a mythological game, which is like drawing on all kinds of inspirations. She looks like a fighter, dressed like one, all these variation outfits, but then you have this that happened, which is like a Louis Vuitton collaboration. And this was from Square Enix. It was just weird. It was like one of the weirdest things you'll ever see in like a life in a Final Fantasy game. And this is what like the shades of Max are showing in terms of this game. It's not as bad as this, but this was like at the time people were blown away from it.
But is it for a different market? Because I saw there was like said like South China news post. So was it maybe for an international market?
Yeah, I imagine it was like pretty much for like getting it out there as much as possible under people's noses, if anything. It was just bizarre. It was like when it happened, everyone was kind of like, it was like, what? It's like almost like, do you know, like Crash Bandicoot signed up with like a famous tuxedo maker, and you had Crash Bandicoot wearing tuxedos as marketing. You'd be like, what the? It's like this. Yeah, it's on that level, if anything. Speaking of which, should we move away from Life is Strange, because there was Lost Records as well, which
yes, let's talk about Lost Records.
We should talk about Lost Records. So should we do a reaction to the trailer of it was at Gamescom, which you didn't watch before this show?
I definitely didn't watch it. This is going to be a live reaction, first time.
Yeah, can't go wrong with live reactions. The YouTube algorithms love them. So let's get to Lost Records. So I'm going to show Abby this trailer. It's shorter as well, guys, so you don't worry. We won't sit here in silence as long. We've got ad blocker as well, which is great. Wrong trailer. Sorry. I
was jamming.
Yeah. It's always a jam of that one. We're into this one.
Honestly, Swan, I'm glad, but slightly surprised that you showed up tonight.
When I saw your text, all these memories came flooding back.
Hey! She actually showed. Welcome!
I remembered Nora, her energy.
Shit! Where's my fucking pick?
The Tharp one's her favorite.
I remembered you.
Nice one, Autumn.
You were the coolest. Skateboarder's wisdom. Never land on your wrist.
I want to see you skateboard, Autumn. I remembered Kat.
Whoa, watch out!
She was like a firecracker.
Ah!
This is serious. We're gonna need a real band name.
How about Bloom and Rage?
How could I forget?
Whoa!
Guys.
Last week, my mom found a package on her doorstep.
Wait. Are Bloom and Rage? We haven't heard anything for 27 years.
Boom.
Oh, I love Kat.
She's great, isn't she? By the way, as well, speaking of Kat, because you love her, let me just show you this. Do you know what this is a reference to?
Jurassic Park.
Yes. Yeah, very good.
Yeah.
Did you cheat knowing that? Did you see my post? Was that
I did see your post.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought it was a very good reference. What's up?
Well, who was it? Michelle confirmed it? Someone did it.
Yeah, it's
Don't
Michelle.
know.
Yeah, Michelle confirmed it. That was a Jurassic Park reference. Because I think Swan has a T-Rex T-shirt as well, and someone was like, "Is that the second Jurassic Park reference we got in here?" And he's like, "I swear that cat's got like an electrocution fence." When it's like, yeah, she actually looks like her as well. When you zoom in and when she looks away, she looks like she looks like Alan Grant in terms of the smirking. I'm like, yeah, very much on point. Obviously, very excited. I'm very excited for that. It looks insane. It looks like the vibe is real as well. I know people have basically like quickly thrown shade on Life is Strange for that. I mean, like, this looks more like Life is Strange than Life is Strange, and I think like it's a little bit cruel, and it's like, you know, pulling things down. It's going to be its own thing, if anything. But I think like I am very excited to see what they're doing. It's got that nice little vibe to it. And it makes me feel very old because it's set in the 90s, and it's like, Jesus Christ, it's like that's my entire childhood that's being put online there. It's like, how is 1995 like a reference point for the game now? It's like, I was only 1995 a couple of years ago. It's like, just, yeah.
Yeah, but the characters are supposed to be in their 40s by 2022, right?
Yes, but we've only seen 2 of them, which raises the question, do all 4 of them make it?
Yeah.
And in itself as well, I have like theories that I've started to build about this game as well. Because it's like, even for example, like you don't see what Swan looks like in the adult form. In that trailer, obviously we see her put the glass down and it's set in first person, but you don't see what she looks like. And it's like, it almost feels intentional. I posted like, do you want me doing like live streaming? I was posting screenshots, posted one of Swan's arm, and I said like, a quick look at a brief look, I think, at Swan's arm, like her outfit, and Luke Bagrados, who's the executive producer, like replied with like a little detective thing, and it's like, it feels like intentional that they're not showing us. And it's like, I have theories because like her voice feels very distorted in that as well. Do you when you hear her talk?
Oh
it's
yeah,
like,
I'm sure one of the characters is probably trans, knowing Don't Nod's track record.
Yeah.
You know,
my theory at first was that I thought that one of the characters was non-binary, but they confirmed it's all 4 girls at the minute. My kind of theory was the fact that we might even see like a non-binary character when they get older, because one of the actors is non-binary who's doing the motion capture.
Oh, cool.
So I assume they are using specific pronouns. So I assume that they would associate themselves as non-binary. But it's like, I thought that maybe one of the characters when they get older would be non-binary. But it's like, I just have theories that mix that even when, like, for example, Swan's talking like a really low pitch, like Autumn sounds like an adult, but Swan sounds very different. And I've had this kind of theory in the last couple of days, thinking like maybe she's aged rapidly in her face or something, where she's like become like an old woman. So it's like, whilst, you know, Autumn is like technically, well, actually no, Michelle said like Swan's 42 or something, but I feel like she's like might have like deteriorated into almost like a grandma-esque face or something, because the voice is so deep, and I'm like, that sounds like an old person that's talking. And again, I know Michelle said like, you know, Swan's 42 in this, but I feel like that might be not be reflective of what's actually happened to her. Something might have happened which like accelerated her aging into like almost like an ancient person. Showing my ageism here. But no, we don't know if all 4 characters come back yet. If anything, the box is interesting because that gives I Know What You Did Last Summer vibes, if anything, which I got straight away. I even said that before some of the previews came out, doing the live stream reaction. I was like, I just got vibes of that film, and it's like people started mentioning it in the previews. I was like, that's so weird that you all like get the same kind of vibe from it, if anything. But no, the intrigue is settled there. It seems interesting. The game comes out later this next year, so it's 2 parts: February 18th, March 18th, Tape A and Tape B, or Tape 1 or Tape 2. I can't remember how they've referenced it. But yeah, it's coming out, and I'm very excited for it. I think it looks very good.
Honestly, I'm more excited for Lost Records than I am for Life is Strange. They've piqued my interest so much.
Yeah, I think they've done a better job at the marketing. That's, for example, where marketing has been done a lot. Like, when I say marketing has been done a lot better, that's in the sense of like just making people excited who are already excited for the game, because like brand IP is still cutting through. Like, I don't think they've got anywhere near the same level of like mainstream pull at the minute in terms of Life is Strange, because Life is Strange is established, everyone knows Max, etc. It's still like, obviously, when it goes quiet for like Lost Records. It's like not everyone talks about it on like a regular basis, but like it does seem like, you know, from what I could tell from like having covered this for like 3 or 4 years since the studios like started to form, and like me and Adam were covering a podcast, I've been hyped from day one, and every time I see a trailer, I'm like my expectations just keep going up and up and up and up, and I'm like, I'm happy with what I'm seeing so far. I just like the characters as well. As you said, like Kat's really cool as well. Nora's quite funny as well. You know, Autumn's a vibe. I think I've heard some people say they don't like her at the minute. It's like they don't know if vibe off her, but I think like she might be a bit of a hard nut to crack at first. She seems to be a little bit like with Swan, if anything. It seems like you have to win her over a little bit in terms of like making a relationship connection, if anything.
Yeah. I feel like everyone likes Nora or seems to like Nora, but I actually don't like her out of all the characters that have been shown. Yeah.
Maybe it's because of
Just
Chloe Price-esque thing.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say. Like, she just seems a little too
abrasive.
You know, abrasive. Yes, that's a great word.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I sometimes outshine myself when I think of stuff like that. Yeah, she's an interest. I think she's going to be. So I think she represents kind of like, because Swan comes across as like an introvert. She comes across as a deep introvert, and Michelle's talked about that in interviews. It's like, you know, she's like, she embodies like a lot of me, where it's like, you know, she will pick up a camera and go and walk around, but she's not necessarily like the social gathering kind of person that will grab everyone's attention. But I think like because of like that demeanor that Swan has for being an introvert, and then you have like what's the other word for someone who's not an introvert?
Extrovert?
An extrovert. There we go. See, perfect. This unison is working really well. So you have an extrovert essentially that's like Nora. It probably seems to be a bit of friction that's developing there. I think the relationship could take quite a few interesting turns and twists and turns. But I've seen people like speculate all kinds of things. I think even on the box there's like newsletters clips in saying like missing person. It's like, do all the characters get to the end? Does everyone appear? Is it just the two of them? All kinds of things are being speculated at the moment. So I'm very interested to see where they go with this. I think that they've like really hit a tone, if anything, and the character's important as well. I think that's the thing with it as well. You'll connect. I think you'll connect with Swan in the same way you connected with Max in the first Life is Strange. I think that's what's going to be the really thing that carries this game as well. And the camera is really cool as well, and they've shown like footage as well, among many other things. You've got a cat in there as well. You don't have to pay for the cat; it's actually part of the game, which is quite nice as well. So it's like all the goodies are there for Lost Records. So I'm pumped for it. I think it's going to hit for a lot of people.
Yeah. When did we have to start paying extra for pets in game?
Well, see, depends what you go into it, Abby, because from my time, there was some games that you used to just buy and everything was on the fucking disc. And like nowadays, like kids, I think it was, there's a Skyrim horse meme that you can go to, which was like I think it was like a costume pack for a horse, which was like DLC. I mean, that might be the triggering point. I think basically now they've realized any publisher's like, we can actually just nick this and people will buy it or pay for it. And we've kind of like gone down the really sleazy part of like Lost on Life is Strange Double Exposure's Ultimate Edition, where it's releasing the game 2 weeks early on early access narrative game. The first half of it releasing 2 weeks early, which is like just the most disgusting practice I've ever seen. Yeah, it's a very interesting question, that, because I think with Lost Records, you ain't going to get that. I think everything's coming on the disc as it is. And it's just like, you know, it's going to be hopefully charged at a reasonable price as well, because I don't think it's going to be charged at the AAA $70, $80 price that you get in the minute, because it just seems to be unrealistic for people to pay for that, because it's just like, I know people just don't buy games anymore because of it. Yeah, I don't know, but I think this will be more relatively priced, if anything. So no, you won't be paying for your cat on this. I think Swan's cat is called Pumpkin, but again, Michel has also said something about that. He replied to us on Twitter with very cryptic. He's like, I can't say a lot, but he's like, there's a little bit more to that. And I'm like, hang on a minute, do we get to call a cat our own name? Do we get to pick our own cat name? It's like, there's something I'm for, but no, he was a bit cryptic about the cat. So I'm kind of like, more than meets the eye there, if anything.
I wonder if the cat has different skins, like Life is Strange.
No, I don't think they're ready. I don't think
similar.
Well, thankfully, this is Don't Nod published anyway, and Don't Nod don't really do that business at this point. So it's like, you know, for them, it's like everything you get is what you get, and I'm like,
yeah, or like you get the base skin for the cat, and then you have to pay like $20 for every other one.
Christ. Do you want
I'm
people
giving
like
them ideas now.
Do you want people like say, like, even on like Strangecast, Adam said it about Max having a Stanley Cup as the next promotion. And I'm like, Adam, like, please don't say that, because they're probably going to listen to this and think, oh, actually, that guy said something really, really cool. Let's get the Stanley Cup in there. And when it pops up, we're going to be like, why is that in there? It's like, because if you recommend it, so please don't recommend product placement for Swan. I just want Swan to be herself.
Lesbians don't use Stanleys, so.
Well, that's reassuring, if anything. We just got the Dr Martens. Yeah. Yeah, I'm quite pumped for that game. That I think everything that they've shown is like on the money. It's like, I think it's only going to get better in terms of like the content we see from that. And it's like, you've probably seen that yourself with like your TikTok videos here and there. It's like Lost Records is a vibe that has appealed to people. And even then as well, I saw some of the comments saying people like, what is this game? I don't know about this game. And it's like, that's quite the marketing cut through again, which is like, I keep saying to people, it's like, you might be excited for the game, but in terms of the popular appeal of the game, that's just a different story, because like you can shove it under people's noses as many times as you want, but some people might just be like, I don't like change, I don't want to try this, maybe, no, yes. And it's like, it doesn't really cut through until you start seeing people talk about it in droves, and I mean in big droves. But yeah, that's what we saw so far. Yeah, so it was an interesting trailer, great trailer. 1 minute, I was happy with that. I was like, one minute something, I was like, perfect. Can't complain. Got bits of gameplay. I think they've released extended footage as well online, where it's like people have played the alpha build that they've had, so it's shown like a little bit more of the actual gameplay and content. A lot of things that you do with Swan's camera as well. So you start moving around and you kind of like record things. There was actually a portion of the DLC, the portion of that alpha build, which is really interesting. You should read about it as well if you get a chance. It tells you like what actually happens in terms of the footage you're recording and where it's used in certain scenes. So it's like, it's kind of like, it makes it a bit more immersive, if anything, as a game experience. But yeah, I'm happy.
I knew
I'm
about
looking
the birds,
for...
but I knew about the birds, but
yeah. So basically, like even the camera as well. Like the camera will like record sequences, so you can kind of like record like an X sequence in like a very artistically styled shot, like of like the cat jumping up and down. You record it for your own archives and you keep it. And it's like there's like all kinds of variations of like little things you can do with it. It's a more complicated method, if anything. But there's also like they've talked about evolution of things. I think there's a, let me see if we can pull it. Actually, hold on, I'm going to show you this as well, because this does relate to Lost Records, and it might be worth mentioning on here if I can scroll down and find the image. There it is. So I'm going to put you on screen share here again. There we go. So this is again on Twitter. It says Lost Records Bloom Rage will boast a dynamic dialogue system, so players can choose to ignore and interrupt other characters.
Oh yeah, I saw that today too, from you.
Yeah, thank you. See, see, guys, she gets all her news from us. You should definitely do the same.
De facto news source.
Thank you. So in itself, you have basically this, where it's like you'll have those sequences we saw in the game, and some of them seem to affect like in the relationship with the other characters. But then you also have like sequences where you can interrupt other characters, or if you're not looking at them, you don't like, they kind of like react in a certain kind of way. So it's adding like a little bit of a flavor profile for it. Have you ever played Oxenfree?
No.
Right, I would 100% recommend, if you ever get the chance, you got a bit of free money, buy Oxenfree, because I played it because Adam recommended it to me. So it's made by basically a studio that's formerly developers of Telltale games. You probably know Telltale games.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, they craft for me some of the best dialogue ever written in games. Like in terms of like the way they use it, and it's almost like an evolution of, for example, of Life is Strange and like Telltale games. So it's like the conversations just flow so natural. But in itself, they do little things where it's like in the first Oxenfree, not to completely spoil it, but there's a trophy, for example, where you go the entire game without picking a dialogue option. So you don't pick a single dialogue option. You have to go for the entire game as the main character, and you get a trophy if you don't say anything. But it's not just like you stay quiet. The characters obviously engage with it, because it's like, and like, you know, you're not speaking to us. So it's like, it makes it more personal. So you can see, like, for example, they're trying to do this with Lost Records, where it'd be like if Swan doesn't say anything, which I think is a good option you have, because Telltale games have that. It's like, she doesn't say anything to Autumn might react like, well, cool. It's like, clearly you're not listening. It has that kind of reaction. So a bit more immersion, a bit more than Life is Strange, where it's like, here's choice, and it's like you pick and you go down the direction it's choosing. It's like, make it a bit more like you can dictate the conversations, feel immersed. I think Michelle says that almost like you can basically be part of the group like Swan, or you're not part of the group like Swan, you're a bit more of an introvert, or you can try and be part of the group, and you know, making that personalized experience. So
yeah,
I'm all for that.
Yeah, that's super interesting, and it probably, I'm sure, affects dialogue choices and how. So, question 2.
Yes.
Do we think that the final reason why all of the women are meeting is variable? Like, do you think that that can change depending on your choices, or is it just kind of one set reason and then you figure it out along the way?
See, there's the interesting part, because I just don't know. I don't know how it's going to play. I think potentially you might not get any of the other characters turn up. I think it might just be these two that turn up. They're the optics. So Autumn, Swan are your main characters.
I think one of them's on the box.
You think? The head?
Yes.
Very Seven-esque, that. just what
Yeah.
7-esque there. I think the box is different. I think the box is for me potentially the camcorder, or it's going to be like a fragment of like a meteor or something like that they've kind of like alluded to in the game. So it's like some kind of reference of it. If it's some person's body part, it's going to take a fucking dark turn. I'll be like, to put that as a game idea. I think other people have said that, but I think it's a very dark idea for what's in the box. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I'm not completely sold on that.
Maybe what's in the box changes depending on your choices.
Potentially, that could be it. It could be anything that's in the box. That's a. By the way, the box is also a bit of a rock. It feels very Oxenfree should play again, as well, as I said.
Yes, I'll look it up after this.
Yeah, it's definitely something I got full entertainment. It's so easy. If you love Life is Strange, it's very similar in terms of like the style and stuff. Like someone's gonna comment out in the comments, being like, "No, it's nothing like Life is Strange." It's like, shut up. It's like, you know, I'm talking about in the sense of a narrative direction game. It's like that. But yeah, I don't know what's actually in the box yet. I'm still like hypothesizing at the minute. There seems to be quite a lot of theories. I think like it has to be something to do with whatever they find in terms of at that point in 1995, because it's like addressed to them. And obviously, let me show you this as well quickly, and then we can kind of like start wrapping up here as well for our debut episode, because I think you might appreciate this. I think you might have seen this. So basically, they've put quite a bit of representation in this game in terms of the visibility. So this was from a preview that Rebecca Jones said. She said that she spotlighted with some of the characters having acne scarred, blemish freckles. You see a lot of things. So obviously with Kat, you start seeing a couple of them in quite a few close-up shots. And then even Nora as well. It's quite poignantly visualized that as well, which I thought, again, is quite a telling sign, if anything.
Don't Nod are just so inclusive. That's why I love them as a studio.
They are as well. And it's 4 years since Tell Me Why as well, if you haven't played that.
No. I still haven't played it. Can you believe that?
Yeah, it's shocking that.
I've watched played of it, but...
Yeah, that'd be our kind of game, if anything. Yeah, it's a weird... It's because it's a shame, because it's like it's locked on Xbox at the minute and PC, and it's like Microsoft published. It just didn't get enough attention as it did, but it was an interesting game. I tried to actually get an interview with Augustine Black on the channel. He's Tyler in the game. He's actually a trans actor, trans person. I actually tried to get him on the channel. He was all keen for it, but then Microsoft was like, nada. And I'm like, joys of publishers. Oh, trust me.
That's not a slay.
Well, it's just one of those things that like, oh, the game's coming out, we're going to book some interviews and do this, and that. And I was like, well, he said he'll come on. He's like, he just wants your permission. No. This is why I don't deal with publishers. It's painful arranging interviews. They just don't get... for me, I think publishers have no idea what they're doing in terms of brand awareness and marketing. I would put every person in front of a camera if I had the chance. Developer, I'd be like, go on the YouTube channel with 50 views. Go on that person's channel. Build connections. Like, you have 15, 20 minutes. You can easily like go and speak to that person. You build your connections. Your smaller YouTube channels are more important than your bigger ones. Those people might play your game, but you're paying them for a fortune of it. And it's like on these smaller channels, you basically get people who are going to be interested in your game, and they'll be the people that talk about it every single week, every single month, every single couple of days, whatever else it is. They're the people you need to target, for me, in my opinion. It's like they're the ones that are going to really kind of like drive your message out to the people who are interested in these games. But hey ho, what do I know? I'm just someone here.
Absolutely.
Abby, anything else?
Well, unfortunately, it's not Pride Month anymore, June, because I know Tell Me Why is free during those months, right? Or
every year.
Every year. Yeah. I'll make a TikTok about it. Maybe draw some paying people who who want to play the game. I certainly want to play.
Yeah, for sure. No, yeah, I like that, the fact that they've done that, at least, where it's like every Pride Month that Tell Me Why is free as like an incentive. It's quite nice. Cool. Like, yeah, it's very touching, like little thing for that. But yeah, it's a very strange game, and I say strange in a complimentary way, because it's like with Microsoft being the publisher, it just doesn't feel like a Microsoft published game, or Microsoft has any involvement in it. But it is Don't Nod, and it's like, yeah, a very interesting game. I think there's a lot of conversations to be had, but you should play it if you ever get the chance. You get an Xbox or something, I would 100% recommend that. Should we call it a wrap here? Or you got anything else?
We shall.
Okay, perfect. So thank you for joining us. Oh, here we go.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, I had one more thing. Be nice in the comments. That's all.
Be nice to me. If you want to be mean to her, then be mean to her. She came unprepared for the entire episode. Not watched any of those trailers, nothing. So be mean to her. But no, please be nice, if any. They are all nice on this YouTube channel. They're always quite nice. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for joining us. As I said, this is very much a conversational podcast. You can stick it on the background on your YouTube channel. It might come to podcast services in the future. I'm not too sure yet, but that's just I have to deal with like enough podcasts at the minute. It's like I've got a lot of podcasts, but at the time it's like a video version because we're kind of really using the video version features, if anything. So you can just stick it on the background whilst you do things, and you can watch us if you need to. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed it as well. Thank you for joining us. I imagine that Fireside with A&A will get a proper name if it does change name, or if it will get a bit more direction going forward. But I enjoyed this, Abby. Thank you for joining as well. It's nice to do a little show like this for people so they can listen to Life is Strange and Lost Records and Don't Nod and Deck 9 stuff. There's not enough of that yet. I'm still trying to push it out, but there's not enough of that. But yeah, hope you all enjoy that, guys. As always, if you are new here, please do drop a subscribe on the channel, turn notifications, like the video, and share your friends. It really helps support the channel. And also, you can find us on social media. You can find Abby on social media under her name, under many things. Go and listen to her music. Listen to her new song, Perfect Crime. It's out on Spotify. If you stream it, she gets paid for it. She needs that incentive of support from people to listen to her music.
0.00032 cents, baby. That's right.
Jesus Christ, could it be any lower? Danny Alk is just, oh my God. That's, do you know what Adam tells me all the time? And I'm like, what is that? I'm like, what is that in terms of a revenue return? That's just, disgusting practice from the music industry. So go and listen to her music. Just play once per day, and she can get this 0.00 something percentage of the cut. So do go and stream it, and yeah, you can check out all her music on there, and also check out other content. We have podcasts, we have interviews, discussions, follow us on social media. As I said, Abby basically gets all her news from us, which is quite nice as well. So do follow us on that reason. But yeah, stay tuned. We'll be back in September for another episode. Let us know what you think. Let us know your feedback. Don't yell at us, please. And until next time, take care. Bye.
Bye.